Hey John,
Hey Eric, how you doing tonight?
I am doing fabulous.
Doing
I,
fabulous. Well, that is better than the
yeah,
alternative.
there's always alternatives. Um, I have no complaints.
Oh, that's good.
So,
That's good. I can always complain, but that's okay. I also shouldn't have any complaints. But it is as it is. So, did you have a good weekend?
yeah. I'm trying to think. What I don't think there's anything spectacular. However, my boy has been using ChatGPT, just the free version, for
Okay.
quite a while now. Well, not quite a while, for research. So he wants to research physics and math, and he's trying to get, hey, can I ask these things to solve math problems, math equations,
Okay.
physics problems for me? Are they smart enough to do that? And he
Okay.
was telling me it's kind of annoying, Dad, because it tells me the wrong answer, and it's obvious to me it's a wrong answer. And it's very frustrating. And so we had a nice conversation
Oh.
about, well, hallucinations and what does hallucinations mean and, ChatGPT. And I had just the day before upgraded because you can do 1 month of free, the new Google Gemini Pro
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
with your Google account. So I added it, figured we'll play with it. And I said, hey, it's a family account. Do you want to just try Google Gemini and see how that works?
So you were able to upgrade your account.
Yeah. I just added whatever, you know, pro Google account.
I mean, I gave this like 30 seconds because I was in the Gemini app. It said
Yeah.
GoPro. I was like, yay, GoPro. And it sent me to a FAQ on how to GoPro.
Uh,
And I was like, where do I click to send you my money? And after I read for like 30 seconds, I probably didn't even read for a minute. I was like, and I'm
yeah.
out. I gotta, I, I
No,
was,
I
that
did
was an impulse
not.
purchase. And I expect to go back and actually pay for it. But I was
So I
like,
didn't do it through Gemini. I went to my Google One account, which I was already paying, I think, $20 a year for like 200 gigabytes of email,
yeah, no,
drive,
I've
etc.
got the family account that does a whole
Yeah,
bunch of
and I have the
stuff.
family account and all the kids. And so on the Google One account, you can upgrade Google One to like a 2 terabytes of space. And there's other things you get to it. One of them is Google
I already have the two
Gemini
terabytes of
Pro.
space.
Oh, see,
I
so
already have YouTube Premium. I already have Share with my
I,
family. I, I'm I'm literally I'm looking. Oh, maybe it's a Google AI. Try a Google
and
AI Pro. Anyway, like net. I mean, it says here start trial. I've gotten a way through there in the Google one. Anyway,
then
net.
it'll
I
be
tried to do
20
the
bucks a
same,
month.
and I was like, I was
Hmm.
like, come on, Google, you're the webmasters. Why? What sort
Yeah.
of crazy Rube Goldberg machine are you sending me through? Um,
Anyways,
anyway,
so
I did
back to
not think
our,
the buy button would go to a help
yes,
article.
uh, back to our regularly scheduled
Sorry. Okay.
podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my
Gemini.
boy started playing with Gemini, and he comes back to me and said, "So this is one young college student's opinion. Google Gemini way better. Part of that probably is because he was using the free version of ChatGPT versus the Pro, but still, he's like, it doesn't tell me the wrong stuff as often,
Hmm.
and the results, he likes the results and the interface he likes a lot better. And I've played a little bit because it comes with like you can create three Google VO3 videos, like the eight
Yeah. Yeah.
second
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
You just describe what you want it to, which is you can do three of them a day for the
Okay.
Google Pro. If you want the Ultra, you can do I think unlimited, but I don't want to pay $150 a month or whatever it was. I can spring $20 a month. So, anyways, he really likes it. And so let the AI wars begin. And so him learning how to prompt it to get it to what he wants to do. I'm all for it. And we'll get to my topic. It kind of dovetails a little bit
Does it? Does it?
at some point,
Yeah.
but Anyway, so I think that was mostly my weekend. We also spent some time power washing the deck, because it's now
Oh,
a little bit more summery time. So
I actually got out my power washer this weekend.
yeah,
But okay,
so that
fun,
was my weekend.
fun.
Yeah.
My power washer though, I believe has a crack in either the fuel line or the fuel tank. Because
Mm.
I mean, I hadn't used it for a year, and so and I think I must have, well, either it had drained out or it was empty. Put fuel in
Okay.
it out by the shop. Totally just started right up. I was like, oh, hey, lucky me. And then I'm dragging it over to the house, and I'm like, huh, it's very wet underneath there. Like, but it ran totally
Hmm.
fine. Anyway,
Okay.
so and of course when I hook it up to the hose like I don't know, like every time I hook a hose up, I need to replace the rubber washer or something like that. It always leaks just a little bit. Um,
Hmm.
and so whatever. Anyway, power washed. Actually, I did some power washing. Then I mostly had my son doing the power washing, and
Oh,
then
same here. Same here. It was
why
instruction and then go.
wise man. I, I, I feel you. but then I was off doing other stuff, and he texted me. He's like, they won't start anymore, and I'm like, wait, what? And I went
Hmm.
and looked at it, and the gas tank was entirely empty, and I'm like, that should not have used up a full tank of gas.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, I was like, well, I think we did enough of that. We could just like use the jet on the end of the hose for the rest of the stuff.
Hmm.
Anyway, because we're preparing for a party this Friday.
That's right.
So
Big graduation
big
party.
graduation party, and
Hmm.
so we have been kind of sweeping and power washed the whole back. Well, the like we've got a whole bunch of deck chairs that have sat out all winter, and power washed them
Rearranging
all
them.
done and on the deck. Yeah. So
Sorry.
anyway, just lots of left. And then I did hook up the tractor and mow for like 2 or 3 hours on Saturday. So you know, it was a working weekend. Although you kind of had to do stuff in the morning because it was hot this
Yeah.
weekend.
It was toasty.
It was get your stuff done by 11 and then go into the AC. Um,
Hmm.
but it looks really nice out there. Actually, I'm like, ooh, I should go out and spend more time out there. I plug the lights in. We've got all these underdeck lights,
Hmm.
and I'm like, it's gonna kind of looks nice out there. Anyway,
Exactly.
I need to spend more time outside. What am I doing? What am I doing inside here? Anyway, it's all good.
Well, anything entertaining? Did you discover anything entertaining from Apple's WWDC conference? That
I
was,
did not actually watch the keynotes. I watched a live stream on The
uh,
Verge, and there was a whole bunch of snarky comments. But
of course.
tell me, what did I miss?
No, no. So they made a big deal out of, so again, Apple makes a big deal about features for the iPhone that Android has had for years. The
Yes,
call screening, which it's
I
a
will look for.
fantastic feature.
Yeah.
I will use it. Um, but make it sound the year. But my favorite, they introduced this new what they call liquid glass
Okay.
so it's the first big update to the user interface since iOS 7.
Okay.
So it's been a long time, and don't confuse with the new iOS 26 thinking that that's 19 years ago. They just decided to call it iOS. They normalized across all their
They're
OSs. It,
auto numbering now.
yes, now it's just the year or next year. It's like
Oh,
a car,
yeah, yeah.
the 2026 model comes out in 2025. So, anyways, but my favorite um, clip I saw was Apple posted a video all about liquid glass on YouTube. And the thumbnail picture for liquid glass unfortunately had the YouTube red arrow covering the G and the L. And so it read something not liquid glass it read something slightly different for some number of hours. Clearly, there was some meeting at Apple where they discovered, oh crap,
Oh, what have we
that's
done?
unfortunate YouTube button placement, and the thumbnail got updated within a few hours. So, the other snarky things they
Oh
talked about,
man.
liquid glass, it was, didn't Windows Vista try this and fail miserably at kind of the translucent
What does it
glass,
actually
behind
do?
the scene? All it is it's like you take a piece of glass and slide it over whatever's behind it. So there's no more solid backgrounds to icons. The backgrounds are translucent ish to the point where on a dark, the background now shows through. It's like
Oh,
light
opacity.
and dark, yeah, dark backgrounds. It auto switches between the two and it gives it kind of that, if you run glass over something, it kind of gives it the edges get a little bit of uh there's probably a better term for it, but like a morphing on the edges. And yeah,
Moire pattern, or
yeah. So it kind of does.
MOIRE.
It looks super cool. It's like, well, you've got this super cool processor in your phones now, and you're not using them to the full capacity because nothing needs all that CPU. So why not
Yeah.
use it on the UI? So, and they've got a new, what do they call it? The icons add just a glass icon. So instead of a colored icon, you can just have a white icon
Transparent.
with levels of transparency. It looks pretty cool. I mean, I'll admit it looks pretty cool, but
All
there
right.
was nothing in that whole WWDC intro that I thought was any super fancy groundbreaking, other than the iPad seemed to be, it was last, and it was kind of like the best. Your iPad is now looking more and more and more like a Mac. You can have a bunch of apps open. It now has a menu bar in the iPad.
I did see
You
one
can
of the Verge
use,
commentators just like,
yeah,
please let me just run Mac OS on
yeah,
my
just let me
iPad.
run,
Please let me run Mac OS on my iPad. But
yeah,
no,
they're getting really close.
you're gonna run iPad OS on your Mac is what you're gonna do.
Yeah, probably. So, anyways, nothing super exciting, but that was,
Hmm. Well, seeing as
we'll
I
see.
ordered a new Mac for my recent grad this weekend as well.
There you go.
One of the things I did was, did they announce new Macs?
No, they did
And
not
I don't know.
announce new Macs.
I looked. That was one of the things I
Ah,
looked up
yeah, yeah.
because I was semi holding that for just in case they announced something new, which they did not. So
No,
that's a fun.
nope.
That's fine. Take 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 some money of mine. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
how about we switch to topics? What'd you bring tonight?
Okay, so
AI related.
yes, AI related. Um, Talking with my boy, you've heard the term vibe coding.
Yes, although I've not experienced, I would say,
Well, let
or
me,
even watched somebody
yeah.
doing
So
such a thing.
I will read vibe coding as defined by a prompt I gave to Gemini. What is vibe coding?
Very nice.
Uh, Vibe coding is an emerging approach to software development that heavily relies on AI, particularly LLMs, coined by AI researcher Andre Karpathy in early 2025. It describes a process where users describe their desired software functionality using natural language prompts, and the AI generates the code. The key characteristics of vibe coding include focus on intent. The user focuses on articulating what they want the software to do, the vibe or intention, rather than how to implement it with specific programming syntax. The AI is the primary coder. It's writing all the code. It reduces the need for actually knowing how to program at all
Or understanding what it does.
or understanding what it actually does. And that's one of the key points is you can accept the code as if it works without really understanding anything about what it does. And you just keep tweaking, asking new prompts until the code does, the output is what you hope. So my article is a security article on vibe coding AI and cybersecurity. So anyone who's in any amount has any amount of
There's
cybersecurity understanding.
nothing bad that's going to happen here.
uh, it says experts remain deeply concerned about cybersecurity weaknesses inherent in vibe coding because you're not doing anything. You're just assuming the AI does everything right or isn't, which,
Although,
uh,
to be fair, I've seen a lot of really crummily written software, and it's
exactly.
entirely possible that the AIs will do it better en masse than
True.
than
I guess on some level,
I'm just
but AIs are also trained on that horrible code
exactly right. Yeah,
on some
yeah,
level
they're
as well.
getting
So,
getting trained by random
but
GitHub.
they will continue to get better and they will continue to, improve the quality, as they do. And um, there is a Casey Ellis, founder and advisor for BugCrowd, called the broad adoption of vibe coding inevitable,
I will agree with that.
even as he acknowledges the potential security pitfalls. So it's just how, like, as I was mentioning earlier with my boy, the AI, the GPT, the Gemini is now, how do I ask it to give me information that I want? And the more entertaining question is,
Without
which we've
hallucinating.
discussed, is how do you trust what the AI is telling you? And
You ask
those
another
are,
AI.
yeah, those are going to be good. That's what we talked about a lot, is those being able to discern good responses and, trust but verify, the concept of trust but verify. That's going to make you a much better AI interaction human than maybe someone else. So, anyways, this was all about concerns of vibe coding and what the uh, future will become. Right? Speed is the natural enemy of quality and security and scalability in software development. And what is vibe coding all about? Speed. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Also maybe enablement. I mean, um, yeah.
They'll get
I
better.
somewhere I recently saw, must have been something I was reading last week. So you should totally treat this as fact. I'm sure it's not hallucinating. Um, that the recent CS graduates have nearly twice the unemployment or rate
Oh, I did read
as
something
other
about that somewhere.
majors,
Or
just
I
because
heard that
of
somewhere.
yeah. I don't know where I would have.
Maybe the same place.
Yeah, probably one of my morning brew newsletters or something like that,
Yeah.
or TLDR. Anyway, I was like, ooh, kind of, kind of rough graduating with a CS degree right in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
um, well, so my topic is GitHub related. So we
Okay.
just mentioned GitHub a minute ago, but and I don't know. So I found this amusing. I thought you might have find this amusing as well, but it's the dumbest possible GitHub action policies bypass. So, um, and I don't know. I was kind of looked through my normal sources and stuff like that, and I was like, I don't know. Maybe I just haven't done a lot of reading or as much reading as I normally do this week, but none of the
Mm-hmm.
stories that I've read have I like thrown in and been like, ooh, that's a good thing to talk about. And then as I was kind of perusing around, I was like, oh, this is kind of funny, kind of silly, kind of dumb, but also kind of
Right.
funny. I mean, the author himself, he's like, this is the dumbest possible bypass. So, GitHub Actions is, I mean, I know you know it, but it's
Mm-hmm.
GitHub's CI/CD mechanism where you can, um, have a workflow to build the software, run tests, etc.
Right. Do
And
lots of things.
they have um, they have a marketplace where
Mm-hmm.
people can put actions in there, and you can basically run other people's code in your environment on your software if you trust them.
Well,
And,
it's like any package,
yeah,
like
yeah,
package
pip
manager,
install.
npm, pip install. Yeah,
But
exactly.
um, and
But
and
a
that's
little
true.
bit more
But
exciting.
like any of these things, any of these environments, there's an ecosystem, and depending on the rigor and concern and security of what you have,
Mm-hmm.
you can choose what to do. And in general, um, GitHub has uh, safe-ish defaults. So
Right.
the
Safe-ish defaults.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, the article says that just this environment isn't good enough because even actions that are generally trusted are um, you know broadly adopted, etc., can be compromised. I mean, this is a supply chain effect, right? Like if you're using another publicly sourced action and basically cloning it into your runner to do stuff, if they have a supply chain problem, you have a supply chain problem.
Exactly.
And then secondly, like, it does not scale in any of these environments to know for certain what you can trust. Like it's an infinite problem practically. So, but whatever. Like GitHub has, like I said, safe-ish defaults. They have a action policy whose default setting says that you can only use actions sourced from your organization, and there's a namespace in your
Mm-hmm.
organization. And the default
Yep.
is basically to only allow running actions from your namespace.
Yep.
So that's good. That's okay, great. And um, the problem is how easy that is to bypass, because
Mm-hmm.
you can when you reference an action, the default is to reference an action by uh, namespace, by another repo, like
Mm-hmm.
uses action slash checkout v4 at v4 is in his example, which means that the actions YAML defined a tag v4 in the actions checkout repository. But you can also reference a local directory in your uses. So you
Mm-hmm.
can uses dot slash and then whatever the actions or path that you want to reference. And you can clone in your action script. So to use an action, assuming the policy is applied and you can't use actions outside of your repository, you can git clone uses dot slash. like
Right.
it was the, like he said, this is the dumbest possible bypass, but he submitted this as a security vulnerability to GitHub, and GitHub said it's as designed. And so he's like, so I guess I'll publish this because you're saying it's as designed. But there are things that he of course recommend, or they of course recommend. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. Um, uh, could do, the
Mm-hmm.
most um, obvious of which probably is that, or the thing that would actually provide a mechanical fix to it would be to consider local references for uses to be a separate permission of some sort. So,
Right.
you know, you have to use things in here, and you can't use a local reference or something along those lines. Or, um, so I mean, the way they framed it is the fix for this bypass is simple, if potentially somewhat painful. GitHub Actions could consider local uses references to be another category for the purpose of policies, and reject them if the policy doesn't permit them. That would
Yeah. So
seal off the entire problem.
yeah. So this is not necessarily a so this is a, let's say I have a corporate security policy that doesn't allow me to use these extra actions, right?
Yes.
But I can run whatever I want in my GitHub Actions. So instead of using the action, I just clone the entire thing myself, put it in my repo
You
as
don't
part of
even
my
have
build
to put it in
process.
your repo. in your
Or just the
GitHub,
runner. You're right, just the runner
the runner can clone into the runner
can clone and pull
namespace
it.
and
So
run it
it'll pull it
directly.
in, and then I can run it directly. So it's basically I I don't care what your corporate security policies are for third party actions.
Correct.
Anybody can run them. So
Correct.
this is a
Correct.
rule that some tool is going to put in place to notify your GitHub Advanced Security, whatever. GitHub may have not do anything here, but as soon as enough corporate clients complain about,
CISOs.
hey, my developers are getting bypassing your system with this stupid bypass, fix your crap, it'll be fixed.
It'll at
So
least be a warning in
it'll
your
be
GitHub
addressed.
Advanced Security
Yeah.
policy, even if it's not a GitHub
Yeah.
security policy itself. Yeah, I mean, and
Good stuff.
the article sort of semi ends with like, you could leave it the way it is, but document it at least that, by the way, this is possible, so that you should look for it, etc. Which is really what you said the second thing. But anyway, I thought that was I read that article. I was like, oh, that is in fact probably the dumbest. What do you call it? The world's dumbest policy bypass. That's a direct quote. But
that's pretty good.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. So I thought that was
All right.
security related fun, and I needed something fun. So there you go.
There you
Anyway,
go.
how about
On
something
to something
legit
fun.
fun? Yeah,
Okay, so when I say Phineas and Ferb, do you know what I mean?
I do. I do. I
Okay.
do.
So Phineas and Ferb, it had been a cartoon, I think 10 years
I'll
ago
be honest. I
on
probably
Disney Channel.
longer than that. I think, but yeah, long time ago.
My kids loved it. It was clever,
It was very clever.
entertaining. It's back.
Oh,
There is a new season that is back.
okay.
And for those of you who don't know what Phineas and Ferb is, I'll just read a little bit from the Wikipedia article here. This series follows the adventures of stepbrothers Phineas Flynn and Ferb Fletcher. They live in the fictional city of Danville in an unspecified tri state area as they seek ways to occupy their time during their 104 days of summer vacation. Often these adventures involve elaborate, life size, and ostensibly dangerous construction projects, which are usually unrealistic in scale given the protagonist's ages and sometimes physically impossible. It's just a very clever cartoon, and it's got a bunch of side stories which are hilarious. Phineas's older sister Candace has two obsessions: unveiling Phineas and Ferb schemes and ideas, also known as "I'm gonna bust you're busted."
Uh-huh.
She's trying to bust her brothers, and winning the attention of a boy named Jeremy. And then there's Perry the Platypus. If you're on planet Earth, you've heard of Perry the Platypus.
That's who I. Yes.
Who's a secret agent for an all-animal government organization named OWCA, which stands for Organization Without a Cool Acronym. And he goes and defeats Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz. When my boy was young enough to be, Phineas,
Uh-huh.
I went to a Halloween party as Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Yes, it was hilarious. So anyways, it's very fun. It's now a new season. All 10 episodes of a new season are out on Disney Plus. It's just a fun little show. That's my something fun. And they're short, they're cartoons. There's tons of little side plots.
I may actually watch those.
They're fun. They're just outright fun.
Okay.
And if I actually get you to watch a show I recommend, I will take that as a huge win.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyways, go watch Phineas and Ferb.
This is not a fun thing. It's a sad thing, but it's related to the show I watch, because my something fun like a while back, like probably months ago, was Perkins Builder Brothers on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I still I'll just put those on and let them run in the background, and I like a few weeks ago they they kind of stopped this major project that they had been going on for like a long time. I was like, what's going on? Um, and it turns out that the owner, was on the show a bunch, maybe not every episode, but a lot of them, passed away. I don't know how. I
Oh.
don't know why. And so I'm like, oh, um, and and are they going to finish that house? I don't know. I don't like. Now I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen. But they posted last week. I think they posted a, kind of a, not an obituary, but kind of a, just a
Here's where
blog
we've
blog
been.
post
Yeah.
of it was
Hmm.
difficult. So anyway, I don't know. It's a semi not fun, something fun follow up from a while back that is something that I do actually watch quite a bit of, which is ironic. But anyway,
Hmm.
okay, my something
All
fun,
right. Yes.
totally unrelated to anything that we were just talking about. But I saw this Saturday. So this is a article about biology. Melbourne
Okay.
team demonstrates a way to make the virus, AIDS virus or HIV virus,
Mm.
visible within white blood cells, paving the way to fully clear it from the body. So you might have noticed that, like, when they talk about AIDS vaccines or treatments, they say makes it undetectable, but it doesn't eliminate it.
Mm.
And it's because the AIDS virus hides inside these white blood cells. It says certain white blood cells, and it has been challenging for scientists to figure out ways to expose um, the HIV virus to drugs, with the problem being that um, what is it called? LNP, liquid lipid nanoparticles. So here's the thing. So it says the virus's ability to conceal itself inside certain white blood cells has been one of the main challenges for scientists looking for a cure. It means there's a reservoir of the HIV in the body capable of reactivation that neither the immune system nor drugs can tackle. Now, researchers have demonstrated a way to make the virus visible. It's based on mRNA technology, same as the COVID vaccines. It was previously thought impossible to deliver mRNA to the type of white blood cell that is home to HIV because those cells did not take up the fat lip bubbles or lipid nanoparticles that used to carry it. The team developed a new type of LNP that those cells will accept, known as LNPX. Our hope is that this new nanoparticle could be a new pathway to an HIV cure. So this was kind of the fun part of the thing. It says, when a colleague first presented test results at the lab's weekly meeting, Saval said, they seemed too good to be true. We sent her back into the lab to repeat it, and she came back the next week with results that were equally good. So we had to believe it. And of course, since then, we've repeated it many, 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 many more times. We were overwhelmed by how much of a night and day difference it was from not working before, and then all of a sudden it was working, and all of us were just sitting gasping like, wow. So the um, can't get uptake, and then totally flip the switch with the different lipid nanoparticle. Problem, of course, is that these are just in cells in test tubes or petri dishes, right? Not even
Hmm.
in animal testing. Um, so there's a quote from someone not associated with this study. Says, in the field of biomedicine, many things eventually don't make it into the clinic. That's the unfortunate truth. I don't want to paint a prettier picture than what it is in reality, but in terms of specifically the field of HIV cure, we have never seen anything close to as good as what we are seeing in terms of how well we are able to reveal this virus. Um, but, and here's sort of the end of it.
Hmm.
Ultimately, one big unknown remains. Do you need to eliminate the entire reservoir for success, or just the major part? If just 10% of the latent reservoir survives, will that be sufficient to seed new infection? Only time will tell. So, um, how and whether you can measure on something like this in humans is TBD.
Mm.
But anyway, the article caught my eye, had a nice headline, and I was like, oh, that's exciting, this is actually the sort of stuff my younger boy wants to study, and I'm thinking it's going to be a rapidly moving field for the next decade or two.
Exactly.
So
Have him cure cancer before I get it.
I'm thinking that would be awesome.
Yeah. I'm all for, finding solutions for diseases. So,
All right.
cool.
All right, Eric.
Very cool, very cool, very cool.
You
All right, John.
have a great night, and I will
You
talk to you
too.
later.
All righty. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.